Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University, and Orphan Age, issue number 1 from Aftershock Comics. I had a feeling this was going to be pretty good when I saw the solicit. When I read the comic book, yeah, this was pretty damn good. Guys, let's get right into this, all right? We got Orphan Age number 1, Childhood. Ted Anderson is the co-creator and the writer. The other co-creator and artist is Nuno Plati. Joao Lemos, sorry for butchering that name, is on letters. Letterer. I can't see what the hell that says. Hey, Aftershock, stop being stupid with your freaking titles and all that stuff. And Marshall Dillon is the letterer, so there's two letterers apparently, unless I can't see that, which I probably can't. Platty does the cover, and there's a variant cover by Wando. Logo designer Jared K. Fletcher. All right, so silly lettering aside, red on black in little tiny letters. Really, really, do you not want us to see who did what? Wow, now I'm actually upset. So, basically, the very beginning, they show that there was some kind of a disease or something that wound up killing all the adults. So what is that, age 18 and over? I don't know. But all the adults in the world just suddenly dropped dead. All right, so then after that, they're like 20 years later, I think it is. Something to that effect. It actually says it right up here. Yep, 20 years later. 20 years later. SpongeBob. They, these kids have now grown up. No, it's not something where you get to a certain age and then you just die. You drop dead. Like our life expectancy is like, nope, 18 and that's it. Just something happened. We don't know what happened. Hopefully we never find out what happened. Hopefully it's just like The Walking Dead. Because as soon as you find out what happened, it's like, oh, okay, well now it's just the story. No. I want that suspense to loom over top of us forever. Word of advice, in case they haven't already figured this out, which I'm pretty sure they did, don't ever tell us why all the adults died. Unless your comic book gets canceled, then on that final issue, it'll be like, oh, well, as it turns out. Or just leave us wondering and make us want the comic book to come back. I don't know. It's up to you guys. Anyway, the mayor of this city, this village, 20 years in the future. He's teaching his kid how to ride a horse. His kid's name is Princess. And all of a sudden they see this dude who's been shot. It's like, dude, what's up with that? So they grab him, they bring him back to town and whatnot. And the guy wakes up the next day and he's trying to get out of town. He's like, no, I don't think you guys understand. This new religious order has showed up. And these guys heard about it like, no, these guys are far out west. We're in New York. These guys are far out west. What are you talking about? They've never come out this far. Well, apparently communications need to get a little bit better because these guys are here now and they're just basically looking for converts or just a reason to kill people. It's really the same exact thing, isn't it? Man, this comic book is freaking sick. Now, there's this girl, Willa, and she's an enigma here, all right? Princess, this dude who was shot, and Willa are escapees from this town. Who else survived? We don't know. But, Willa's an enigma. She is willing and able to kill with a knife. That may sound like nothing because a lot of us read a lot of comic books. No, in real life, I'm not saying go out and try to kill somebody, but as hardcore as we all think that we are, no, that's simply not the case. Most of us, shooting somebody, pulling the trigger is scary enough, but like doing something with a knife, that's some straight up cold-blooded crap. You're willing to kill somebody with a knife, able to kill somebody with a knife, because that's like there's something that shows up inside of you suddenly that says you're about to cross a line, you're about to leave the human race and become something else, something genuinely lesser, something less evolved than what you are now. Are you sure you want to make this final movement? This will be your last act as a human, your first act as a subordinal primate, so it's, yeah. So, but she's able to do that, and yet she's still got the innocence of youth about her. I call her an enigma because she is the most interesting thing about this otherwise very interesting comic book. Just this world and everything, it reeks of The Walking Dead vibes. As I may have indicated before, that's exactly what this feels like. This is a sad song, you know what I'm saying, being played with, you know, it's like it seems like a love song, but it's actually an ode to, like when I see this comic book, when I read this comic book, it's like someone singing a song, and you don't see the person, then you finally see the face, then you see the body as this person's singing, then you see the whole scene. They're singing this love song in a grave site, you know, saying in a cemetery to their, you know, dead lover. Like that's what I imagine when I'm reading this comic book. It just keeps on pulling the veil backwards, and you're starting to see more and more. And I'm only imagining it's just going to get more like that as the comic book progresses, as the series progresses. I'm kind of hoping that I'm really hoping that I remember to grab Orphan Age issue number 2. One of the problems that I have is that I do read a lot of indie comic books. Obviously, I read a lot of Marvel and DC. I read a lot of comic books, all right? I read a lot. And those characters, you know them, the Captain Americas, the Supermans, you know who those freaking characters are. It's very easy. You know, somebody new gets introduced. Okay, cool. If they don't die in the first comic book, they might be fairly important to at least the storyline, if not, you know, the future of the character. Not too many times do we get introduced to new characters. Indie books, that's all you get are new characters. So it's hard to remember everybody's names. It's hard to remember what they're doing. It's hard to remember what happened in a comic book, you know? But that being said, you know, my big thing is I'm just hoping that I remember when Orphan Age 2 or, you know, issue 2 comes out, that I just look at it and go, I can't remember what happened in this comic book, because I'm genuinely curious what happens in the next issue. So yeah, there's that. Man, I wonder if I don't know how the marketing works entirely with comic books, you know, as a former marketer. I don't actually know how it works, and it's just, I know that it's not easy to advertise new comic books coming out, but my recommendation, since I do like Aftershock Comics, I read Baby Teeth. Unfortunately, just ended, Dark Arc, but I'll read, you know, number ones and a couple other comic books like that from Aftershock. I'm hoping that, you know, what they oftentimes do, they didn't do it in this one, is they'll put, you know, like here, you know, this is just something for CDC. They'll put a full page advertisement for their comic books in it. I'm kind of hoping that they do that in one of the future comic books that I read. Actually, they did do it with one of the things, Replacer. But I hope they do it with issue number 2. Just remind us what they're putting out. Remind us, tell us, and give us a quick blurb of what happened in that comic book, so that we can, you know, be reminded, oh yeah, Orphan Age, you know, I can't wait for issue number 2 to come out. What's the date? Oh, it says right here what date comes out. Just self-aggrandization. It's not a bad thing. So, yeah, I really want to read issue 2, and I hope I don't forget. All right, guys. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.